Welcome back, everyone. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE. We are here in our NYSE CUBE studios, of course. We have our studios in Palo Alto connecting tech and money, Silicon Valley and Wall Street as technology goes mainstream. It's part of our Robotics AI Leaders series where we interview the top people who are making it happen. Of course, here in New York, it's the week of our AI Factory Series kickoff. Nice tie-in here. Gautam Narang is here, CEO, co-founder of Gatik, amazing company with news as well. Gautam, great to see you. Thanks for coming in.
For sure. Thanks so much for having me, John.
So, little monologue there. Robotics and AI Lead is one of our most popular series with the NYSE Wired programming community. We're also kicking off our AI Factories this week. We're just putting that out. That's going to be another continuing hit. You hit both. And so I want to get into what you're doing because you have an amazing story. You're commercially successful with autonomous driving with trucks. Obviously a great market. It's easy to go trucking because it's for other reasons. Explain what you guys do and talk about the news. So I think this is a real illustration of the momentum, the commercialization, and the proof points people have been waiting for.
For sure. So at Gatik, we automate regional logistics network, right? When we started the company, the idea was not to develop technology for technology's sake, but from day one, we really wanted to, one, commercialize, second, really scale this technology and get to the point of driver out in a faster timeline, in a much safer way. So based on that, we felt that B2B shorter logistics or automating regional networks was the right starting point because it's a much more constrained problem, let's say, compared to a robotaxi application. And over the last 8 years in our journey, Gatik has hit a lot of industry-first milestones. These are technical milestones, commercial milestones, and you're right. This morning we announced an expansion deal with one of our early commercial partners, Loblaw, which is the largest retailer in Canada, and this deal builds on all the, I would say, industry-first milestones that we have hit with Loblaw. So we have been doing operations with them since 2020. And in 2022, Loblaw and Gatik became the first few companies to really initiate driver-out commercial operations in Ontario, Canada. And today we are announcing that we have signed a 50-truck deal. This is 5 years plus. And the idea here is to automate Loblaw's regional logistics network in the Greater Toronto area. So we'll be serving over 300 retail stores across different banners within Loblaw. And this will be our trucks moving goods from two of their distribution centers and serving Loblaw's end customer.
I mean, autonomous vehicles is really all the rage. Everyone sees Waymo, which is only an L2 retrofit. L4s are being built from the ground up. We're starting to see those. But trucking, it's a vehicle. It's the most lucrative now because there's a pain point.
Sure.
Can you explain why that's the key market for you guys? It's a supply chains involved. It's quantifiable, I imagine. Why is trucking been viewed as the first kind of low-hanging fruit? I mean, it's not low-hanging fruit. It's difficult.
I think I'll start with what problem we're trying to solve for our customers, right? So everything is driven by end consumer expectation. So you and I as end consumers are very demanding, right? And our expectation is if I place an order, I want to be able to get that order as soon as possible, as cheap as possible. And then on top of that, I want the best experience possible. But then the reality is all the grocers, retailers, distributors, they are struggling with extreme driver shortage, right? Today, the number is over 100,000 driving roles that are needed. And, that's where we come in, right? We believe, and our customers believe, that automation is the only long-term viable solution. And we're trying to basically help them move goods between their distribution centers and retail stores more frequently, but without the additional cost. And it's very important to do that at a commercial scale that will move the needle for the customers. And trucking is the right starting point when it comes to that.
Yeah, you mentioned shortage of drivers.
Yes.
Okay, so that's an issue. Okay, got that. But also, I read a stat. I forget where it was from. I'll try to find it and put it in the blog. But it was saying that drivers, human error, is a lot of cause of safety.
Yes.
And they were pointing out that actually autonomous trucking is safer.
Yes.
Kind of counterintuitive, and if the average person, the human in the loop, everyone kind of talks about that. Talk about that dynamic because that factors in probably to the cost calculation.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's data on this. what's the reality?
Yeah, no, great question. And, the way we have designed the technology and what we are focused on is driver out operations without obviously compromising on safety. That's why when it comes to the sensor selection process and how we have designed the platform, how we have designed our core stack, and how we do operations has been all done with the safety in mind, right? I'll also say that the use case that we have chosen, which is, moving goods over shorter distances, which is up to 300 miles, we have the additional benefit of optimizing for safety, because a bag of potatoes won't care or won't complain if you take a slightly longer but safer and easier route to get from point A to point B. But when it comes to the technology, our platform is designed with the philosophy of not having any single point of failure. Everything from our perception suite all the way up down to the compute that we use, our driver-wire system, everything has built-in redundancies. There's no single point of failure. Every component that we use is automotive grade, has been designed with in close partnership with our OEM and Tier 1 partners.
Well, it's a great milestone, and I think, like I said on my open, this kind of highlights commercialization, which has been one of the complaints in AV, in this case, autonomous trucking, because there's like, where's the value? You're actually delivering it. Talk about what it takes to get there, because when people see it, they go, oh, wow, it's cool. There's no driver. It works. It's safe. But there's a lot that goes into it. I know NVIDIA's involved. A lot of people are involved. I'm imagining that you got this AI factory. There's a lot of simulations. It's a tech problem. So it's like, big time tech here.
For sure. Maybe I'll start with the current operations and basically how we use data and our partnership with NVIDIA, with the Suzu, that enables that commercial scale for us. So today we are live across 4 major markets in the US and then in Ontario as well. And whenever we expand to a new market, we start with the safety validation, right? Proving our current technology has been validated for this new network in a new market. And that's where Gatik Arena, our simulation platform, comes into play. This is the platform that we have designed in very close partnership with NVIDIA. And the whole idea here is to augment the real world testing miles with the highly accurate synthetic data with very high fidelity across all the different sensor modalities that we use. So simply said, we're able to augment thousands of miles of real world driving data to millions of miles of highly accurate synthetic data using the power of simulation, and in very close partnership with NVIDIA as well.
Yeah, and it's also another example, not to get in the weeds technically, but the concept of physical AI, and which is blending first-party relationships between a physical thing, a truck, and digital, and large-scale computation and software. And we're seeing things like Omniverse with NVIDIA kicking ass there. But that's simulation. And one of the things that we're watching, I'd love to get your thoughts on this, is that, and by the way, NVIDIA is opening up all that simulation data and synthetic data to the ecosystem. But they're also saying we want real-world information to come in. You're now getting both. You're using synthetic data to help on the simulation, but also you're getting real telemetry in. What's your vision and reaction to that, and how are you thinking about that? Because now the real data supplements the synthetic. What's the net on that?
You're right. So I would say both real-world data and synthetic data is needed to enable physical AI, and making sure that the applications that we're focused on, which is highly safety critical, you have to have a mix of both. And you're right. Today we're running the largest autonomous trucking fleet in North America, and with today's announcement, we're basically expanding on that fleet. So we have a lot of real-world data that's coming in, and yes, there is an ecosystem of strategic partners that we're working with that is helping us basically augment that data and make it useful, so that frankly we can commission, we can continue scaling this to newer markets and newer networks as well. But maybe one thing to highlight here is, there is no proxy for real-world data that is highly needed to deliver on safe level 4 operations.
Yeah, so I have to ask you about the customer, because again, I love the milestone because it's commercial success. There's real dollar contract in this. It's not a POC. It's not like it's like, hey, let's do this test. Gatik, we'll just send 50 trucks out there and see what happens. I imagine there's a lot of thought and process went into the procurement side, the vetting. Take us through what was that like, and what was the process? What were some of the objections? How did you handle them? Take us through that whole deal, because I think this is going to be an illustration for a template, if you will, for others.
So I would say it takes a long time to build trust, right? Especially for the kind of solution that we're building. So we have been working with Loblaw since 2019. And initially we started out with 5 trucks, and there were certain KPIs and milestones that both the companies aligned on, and we have been successful in doing that. And based on us, delivering the driver out milestone, making sure that we enhance their existing SLAs, right? At the end of the day, our customers care about making sure that the goods are moving as expected, on-time pickup, on-time delivery, vehicle are available, and uptime is in the late 90%. Those are the kind of things that we're able to deliver against. And based on us meeting those high KPIs and delivering on those milestones, yes, we're now expanding, and the plan is to roll this out across Loblaw supply chain. And Loblaw is also joining us as a strategic investor in the company. So that's basically the trajectory that we have with some of our other customers as well.
I'm just sitting here smiling because it's like, imagine, and I want to ask you this question because I want to know how you felt when you see the retail store. Here comes the truck.
Yes.
No driver. Okay. I mean, it's a freaky cool thing.
Yes.
I mean, it's like,
yes.
whoa.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of like, as a founder, it's like, hey, it's working. It's happening. What's it like, and what's been the reaction?
Well, there are a lot of head turns that we capture in our sensors and in our cameras. So folks are very intrigued and very curious, right? We have had people that somewhat try to capture, get their phones out, hang out of the window and try to shoot a video of the trucks without anyone behind the steering wheel. And I think, but the reality is it gets normal very quickly. Folks are
reliable. Yeah, it's
exactly.
Like, here comes the truck. Yeah, thank you.
Exactly.
Thank
right.
you, truck.
That's
the name for the truck.
We do have names actually. Yeah.
No, but this is the new reality, and I think this is where we're going to see AI really shine with robotics, because again, it's a physical thing.
Yes.
We all know what a truck is. When you see truck drivers on the road, sometimes they're swerving or whatever, but that's an obvious shift moment.
For sure. Yes.
Okay, so how do you guys want to take this going forward? What's the plan? Obviously, commercial success is great.
Yes.
Is every client the same? Is there economies of scale in your trajectory? Can you take us through the business strategy?
I think for us this year and next, it's all about scaling our fleet, right? Not just number of trucks deployed, but also number of driverless trucks that we have on the road. So scaling our freight-only operations, and freight-only is our term for driverless operation across multiple markets, multiple customers, and multiple networks is what we are focused on. But it's very important to do it in a safe way. And one of the commitments that Gatik made late last year is we'll only commence our driver out operations and scale our driver operations once we have done a very rigorous independent safety assessment. So this is the commitment that we made publicly. This is to build trust and confidence across all the different stakeholders. And I'm happy to say that we have been making really good progress against that milestone, and it sets a very nice foundation for all our scaling plans. So we're trying to keep things simple, keep our heads down and get more trucks on the road and start pulling drivers out across.
You got to be pragmatic. So two things I want to highlight and get your thoughts on, because I think it's clear strategy. Shorter distances was a key decision.
Yes.
And the back end technology, I say NOC for lack of a better, niche called network operating centers. So explain the strategy on the short distance. Was that a technical issue? Is that more about the roads and understanding that? And then you get to the back office. What are you doing behind the scenes?
It's more of a thesis. The reason we decided to focus on the mid-mile segment is we wanted to constrain the problem as much as we could while unlocking real value for the customers, right? And our way of doing that is focusing on known pickup locations and known drop-off location. So one of the examples and one of the networks that we're serving today is a total of 190 locations where we pick up products from 3 distribution centers, and we're making deliveries to 187 retail stores. And today we are serving about 35 trucks across that network. The benefit of this approach and this use case is it's more constrained, right? We have finite set of routes that we have to solve for and perfect autonomy across this network, as opposed to, let's say, a robotaxi application that is somewhat unbounded, right? You have to boil the ocean.
Do a lot more
exactly, and
crawling of data, synthesis around what roads look like.
End of the day, it's a data problem, which is, our use case requires exponentially less data compared to a problem that is unbounded, where you're trying to boil the ocean. And the way the infrastructure is built up is, everything from ingesting all the real-world data that our trucks are collecting. How do we have the data ops pipeline, ML ops pipeline, so that we can make that data available on our cloud, on our network, train our AI models, optimize those models and deploy those models across different trucks that are running across different sites. That whole infrastructure has been designed and optimized in very close partnership with Microsoft. They've been our cloud partner for the last many years. They're our strategic partner as well. And we have a very scalable infrastructure that allows us to train our AI models and deploy that on the cloud
So
as well.
talk about I'm going to put my investor hat since we're on Wall Street, the TAM, how you see the market, and then what you need to have happen on the tech side. Because we're seeing announcements every day.
Yes.
The models are getting better. The technology is getting better. That flywheel's kicking in. So TAM opportunity, the total addressable market for you, your approach there, and then what's going on that you need to see come in from your technology partners like the NVIDIAs of the world.
So in terms of TAM, the middle mile segment in North America alone is over $300 billion. So this is the regional transportation market, huge. It's a subset of trillion plus trucking market, but it's a giant subset. And obviously we're happy being the only company that is going after this use case. So in terms of
Wide open, basically.
Exactly. And there's opportunity for
barriers to entry are what? The work to do.
Well,
I mean, it's a boatload of work.
And yeah, exactly. But for us, we spend a lot of time with the customers, so we decided to do things differently in a way that even before the company was incorporated, we were having customer meetings, trying to identify what is the right starting point, and that's the validation that we have for our for our business, right? We decided not to follow the herd. In many ways, go against the grain and not focus on, let's say, long-haul trucking or last mile or even robotaxi. We feel that this 300 billion plus market with the right constraint, with the right regulatory approvals, we felt that was the right starting point.
I mean, from a data standpoint, most of the big distribution organizations on the supply chain have, hub and spoke, architecture.
Yes.
Distribution centers, a few of them, or a handful.
Yes.
That serve many nodes. That's a computer science problem.
Exactly.
Nodes, hub and spoke, sounds like an architecture.
And that's how we work with our customers, right? Our customers share a lot of proprietary data when it comes to network data, operational data, sales data. We ingest that, match that with our autonomy capabilities, put that into our network design and optimization platform. And, that platform spits out networks and routes that are optimized for meeting the customer requirement, while also optimizing for faster driver out timelines. And all this with the right backdrop of inherently safe routes.
Okay, R&D has been a big topic in the AI space. Robotics, R&D is going on all the time. If you look at the AI factory, the physical AI world, there's a lot of simulations like we were talking about earlier. What R&D are you guys doing, and where do the big XPU players, the GPU players, large-scale systems play into it? Is it the simulation? Is it the omniverses of the world? What are some of the breakthrough variables for you on the R&D side?
I would say core buckets are designing the capabilities that will enable that autonomous operations in urban and highway environments, right? That's where all the cloud infrastructure that we have, where we train new capabilities. And once we have the right level of performance, we deploy our AI models on the trucks. So a lot of R&D goes towards designing these models, designing the algorithms that will enable the truck to do safe operations across urban and highway environments. And then on top of that, obviously with scale in mind, the focus is on sustainable growth and sustainable scaling, right? You have to scale in a very cost-efficient manner. That's where the simulation platform comes in, right? Simulation allows us to not just augment real-world data, but also expedite the safety validation efforts when we expand to a new network, so that we can keep the driver out timelines very short. But at the same time, use our simulation platform, this is Gatik Arena, to expedite those timelines.
Okay, let's talk. A final point here before we wrap is regulation.
Sure.
Take us through where that is. It a headwind? Is it a tailwind for you guys? Obviously, Canada different than the U.S.
Yes.
Is it just bureaucracy? Is what's holding it back, or is it moving forward?
So from a regulatory standpoint, we're good, right? So our focus is intrastate. Today, the autonomous vehicle framework is at the state level. There are 28 states where we can deploy our trucks, pull the driver out, and commercialize a service. And all our scaling plans for the next 5 years are across the states that are highly favorable when it comes to AV regulations. That said, the current current administration is very favorable and very open towards having a federal level AV framework.
Yeah.
And we work very closely with the current
And you
administration.
win your bet on the short distance, make it
Yes.
very state attractive.
Exactly. So we don't have to worry about crossing state boundaries. For now, exactly. We have aspirations to expand
Yeah, I mean,
to the rest of the
roll with the
network as well.
tide, just
Exactly.
rising tide.
Exactly.
You're not constrained
We're not
in
concerned.
the U.S. You can go after some states now.
Exactly.
I mean, you're on a growth plan, so you
Yes.
can't get everything out of the gate.
Of course, yeah. But we feel a federal level AV regulation framework would be rolled out in the current administration. We're hopeful, and we're working very closely with the administration
I
to
mean, if any sign from the crypto side that they want regulated, they want to get these policies in place, these frameworks, so the regulators could do their job.
Absolutely. And that's why, it's very important to inform and educate, what to expect from these trucks and, this.
How do you
technology as well.
enforce?
Exactly.
It's just simple stuff.
Yeah.
What are the rules? What are the rules of the road?
Yeah.
All right, great to have you on. Put a plug in for what you're working on. You guys hiring? You actually going to go to market? Give us some what you're focused on and what your goals are.
For sure. We're aggressively hiring. The company is in growth and expansion mode. So scaling our core engineering team, but also expanding our operations team as well. We have, signed contracts across, customers that have giant fleets. And the focus is on, as I mentioned, getting more trucks on the road across multiple states and multiple sites.
And real quick, just I'm curious, I know this might be interesting to folks too. What's the payback economic, just order of magnitude? Can you scope that? So you don't have to give specifics on customers, but just generally, what's the scope on ROI, payback?
For sure. So we provide autonomous transportation as a service where each of our customers make a 5-year commitment, and ROI for them is within the first year. And for us, we have very healthy margins, very exciting margins over that 5-year window. One thing to note is we're asset and operationally light, right? We don't own the trucks. We don't own the AV equipment. We have partners that are helping us with the leasing, servicing, and maintenance that allows us to
You're a software data company.
Exactly. Yeah.
Happen to have trucks that you lease.
Yeah. That's the right way to think about it. Yes.
Got great venture. Thanks for coming on theCUBE. Appreciate it. I know you got to catch a flight. I really appreciate you coming in.
Sure. John, thank you so much.
Great to meet you in person. Again, the Robotics AI leaders also crosses over to our AI Factories program. A great example of software and AI, physical AI, great example, getting leverage into things we all know every day, like trucks. It's going to happen more and more. It's just the beginning. Of course, theCUBE's doing its part to bring that to you. I'm John Furrier, your host. Thanks for watching.